Take just 3 full deep breaths with me, maybe kind of cleansing breaths. Maybe deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, you might sigh. Let it go. Do that again, your pace, 2 more times. Inhale. Fill up. Exhale. Let it go. Inhale one more time. Inhale, fill up. Fill up, fill up a little more maybe. And exhale. Maybe fully, maybe let that go. Maybe slump down in your seat a little bit, press a little extra air out from your belly. Now, for the first part of this week's meditation tool that I'll offer is a mudra, which is something I've been working a lot with for some months now. Mudras are like yoga poses for our hands. They're like gestures to kind of anchor an idea in space, or use like a flashcard to return to mentally if that's an idea that is important for some reason, maybe in like a public speaking context, for example, or meditation if that's what you're here to do. So for this week's mudra, I'll offer one that I think is a neat example because it offers an opportunity to do with our hands what we often see done with full body poses in a yoga studio. So downward facing dog is a common pose in a yoga studio environment. You may have seen it before. It looks like somebody's hands on the floor as well as their feet and their hips high in the air, kind of creating an A shape with their body. This is a really strong pose to hold with one's shoulders. It can take a lot of work to take deep breaths in this sort of inverted upside down position. It's a position that's used a lot to kind of prepare for more poses, especially in a very physical class that involves lots of different movements. And what I enjoy about this idea is that when the same pose is done with hands, downward facing dog, the pose becomes downward facing mudra, the gesture. So I'll invite you to take it with me now if you'd like. To do so, you can just bring your hands, maybe palms facing down, your elbows out wide, and your fingertips just in front of you. And then just bend at the knuckles, letting your fingertips point towards the floor. You'll notice your thumbs are kind of hanging out here in space and make a nice connection point. Just bring those thumbs together. And now the backs of your bent fingers can now rest together. So this creates kind of like a plow pose with your hands, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is because it's often translated from its original language of Sanskrit to mean plow. Also in English, we may associate it with preparation, which is what a farmer does with a plow, is prepare the fields for sowing seeds and farming. So I'll just offer that idea, this pose of kind of connecting your hands and center in this interesting way. I like to even bring my thumb tips kind of to my sternum as just sort of an additional anchor point, and sort of imagine what it's like to plow forward, whether that's internally, maybe this plow is kind of moving towards you, maybe thinking about whatever's coming up for you today. Maybe that's why you're meditating, is to sit and let those thoughts flow for a moment to prepare for something else. Or like I said, in a yoga studio, this kind of downward facing pose that is taken with a full body has a very similar shape, this kind of A-frame, and creates tension between opposites of, the feet and the hands meeting in center to prepare for what's next. So thanks for listening. That is this week's mudra. We'll return to it with an opportunity to practice together after we move a little bit. So hopefully we have paved the way with some thought preparation, if you will, with this idea of this mudra, Adho Mukha mudra, as it's called in Sanskrit, or down face gesture. Do with that what you will.